Okay, so we're gonna go over my week of trading with a recap, and the recap is simply bar replay. And the bar replay is basically just the past being replayed today. I'm gonna take you through my process. I am not giving any financial advice. This is just for my personal use when I want to review what I've done in the past. I want to check all the setups that I've been through. I'll look at these videos and go back to them as many times as I want. That's why I post it on YouTube. Not This is not for financial advice. This is just for my personal use. If you see it, it's just for entertainment purposes only. So let's begin. This is Monday, my 1 minute chart, and I got my daily chart here. So I mark out my levels or just areas where I tend to mark. It's just like high, low, low, and then the wicks and all that stuff. So this candle is so no Monday candle yet. This is a Friday from the week before. And so this is already 8:30. I am in Central Standard Time, so the opening bell is at 8:30, and it already brought me to 8:30 in the morning. So what I do is I look at where are we relative to yesterday's candle, and we are right here. You can see we're like by the yesterday's close, or we can say yesterday. It's not technically yesterday. I like to mark any trends. So this is a pivot, kind of a pivot, kind of a pivot. I mark it out even though it's not legitly one. And then I see where the low and high of the pre-market is. This is kind of, for me, something of interest. It's interesting how this is kind of bouncing here. It's interesting how it's trending down. And it's interesting how it bounced off the 0% line. That's what I call it, because anything that happens today is going to go based off this line, like up 2% or down 2%. I'm also going to mark what this stock could potentially do in a day is like 5% up, 5% down. Um, my bias today is upward, and but for it to go upward, I see something right here, something interesting. I see wicks. It's right 11 here. O'clock. And this might be like resistance, because look at what happened on this candle. It resisted this, it touched that. If we go back, it resisted again there, resisted. So it never passed it. So if it does break it, then maybe it does mean something, right? It's both now yesterday's high and then also that resistance area. So for me, it's interesting. Something could potentially happen. For me to get involved in this, like right now or currently is, I don't want to short it, even though it's like potentially retrace this whole candle. That's very possible. And it will have I will do that if it breaks past this pre-market low. So it's already kind of tricky. Uh, yeah, it's tricky. So what is my? I mean, I'm not gonna look at any other device to see what happened. So this is where I practice. This is where I practice understanding and recreating scenarios from the past. So I do look at prior screenshots before trading. I'm not looking at any right now. So what I'm left with is I would like to see this this to go bullish, because we are near the top of this level. It did not reject completely, like it did not completely retrace pre-market. So meaning it kind of wants to go higher. For me, from my perspective, it looks like it wants to go higher. So I would want to see break above and then retest and then maybe play around here or just break up above it and then take off and then mark, maybe go high as these levels here. That's a good target. That's like around 4%. But more realistic would be, somewhere around this congested area. Like, this is a lot of noise here. So somewhere around there, I'll mark that as white as my target. So for me, that's a 10, 20. That's an $11 move. So that for me would be like 3 contracts of Delta 10 with good liquidity. So let's see what happens in the open. I don't want to trade it down. The down would just be this target, and that's a $8 move, which is likely, but I'm seeing bounces here, so I see some resistance. I'm going to use that bounce. So let's see. Okay, we got a flat candle, wicks on both sides. Let's zoom in more. Okay, another one. Interesting. So for me, that's a retest of this. That's like a bounce. So I would be getting in already, and this would be my stop. This from here to here. So where it closed, all the way over here. So let's say I enter 3 contracts, Delta 10. Boom, I would have gotten stopped out. So that's a stop out right there. So, and it closed below this. So okay, now that's kind of telling me it's probably gonna go down because it also retested this top. It retested the 0% line. At this point, it's kind of late to get in. I would want to see it retest this zone, but if it's a momentum play, then I'll probably just get in with 1 contract and see what happens. So now we got 2 fails for me. This is something to stay away from. Okay, I've lost twice. I'm just gonna watch it, see what it does. To me, now I'm gonna look out for like pivots of structure. So the structure I see right now is this. Let's see where it goes next. Okay, that was a higher low. Because it's a higher low, that's an entry right there. So if we continue the trend, boom, and higher low, breaks above this with momentum, that's for me a reason to get in anywhere around here. But again, we also got this break of this level right here, the trend break. A very messy day, something I would hate to be involved in. I don't remember what I did with this. Let's change this to orange. Only way I'm getting in is if it breaks above retest or retest this level. If it's a no touch retest, we'll see. Okay, for me that's an entry right there to go higher. So I would enter here. We only got from here to here $8, $9. So maybe just 2 contracts. Stopped out. Boom. I would have been stopped out again. Terrible. So 3 losses in a row. So each loss, if I'm doing 3 contracts or 2 contracts, it's between $1 stop range or 1.5, sometimes 2. So if I'm doing 3 contracts of Delta 10, then that would be $30 times however much the stop range is. So in this case, like 1.5, so $45 each stop out. So I'm at two stop outs. Two stop outs equals $90. A third stop out is $135. Would have been down right now. Okay, now I see some structure more clearly. I forgot about this structure. This, boom, boom, boom. So we're getting some structure here. If I would have gotten in here because of the structure, not because of the trend break, then I would have still been in. And let's see if the pattern continues. And it kind of does. Let's see. Okay, so I think for this one, it was this tiny trend break, which is not super reliable. But it is trending. Dun dun dun. Equal lows, which is not a lower low, it's just equal, which is another retest of this low. That's kind of an entry. From here, it's like higher high, lower, higher low. Let's see if we can keep the trend going all the way to this line right here. Oh, that's taking forever. Yeah, this would be an agonizing day. it I mean, you could have taken profit from this. We were only what, like, I could have taken profit if I was in it. This is only at 33 cents away. So this is also a no touch exit, which, hey, you capture all this and you're good. So this was more of a structural entry, not a bounce, not a break, more of a, like, nothing happens until it restructures. So yeah, this was a structural entry type of play. Nothing happened until the intraday formed some new trend, and the new entry was pivot low. So lower low, lower high, higher low, higher high, equal low. That's an entry for me. Anywhere around here. Stop is below this right here, which is only like $1.50 at most. So entry from here to there, and that took a good minute. That took a good minute, man, for that to happen. 2 hours of just waiting. But it would have been good profit because it's huge. From here, capture $11 with 3 contracts. Oh, 2 contracts I would have done. So that was a structural entry. So now let's go to the next day. Let's see if I didn't go too far. Sometimes I go too far and then I'm screwed. Okay, so let me 15 minutes. Ooh, I almost went over. And I think I did, so I kind of cheated and saw a little bit of what happened. So here we are, still high, still up. This jar 0% line. 0% line. I always keep it consistent. Dash, baby blue. And then solid lines. Whatever. Trying to do this fast. I can also do Command J, I think. Yeah. So, boom, boom. All right, so those are new levels. What can we do from here? Well, from here, it's a messy top, pretty messy, man. I would, it would be a struggle. Here, it's a struggle. A retrace, definitely possible to retrace these three yellow candles, which is green. For me, I struggle with red and green candles. And let me zoom out to 1 minute. Drop pre-market. So we're gonna determine, is this a kind of bounce type of entry, a structural kind of entry, a breakout kind of entry. We're trying to determine what to do, what looks interesting, where would the price want to go, basically. I'm gonna keep this area because it meant something. So it goes back down here, I want to see a balance, right? Which is very possible. So I'm gonna keep an eye out. If it touches this, I'm getting into the upside. I want to get in here. I also maybe here, break out this here. Yeah, to the upside. What's the target? I mean, if it wants to continue higher, which you're seeing momentum, you're seeing decent sized candles. Can we take out this noise and break out and make it go all the way up here? That's a good target for me. 440, 440s. To me, that's a good place to go. But can we take this out? Do we have enough strength to take it out? But it could also, this is also a possibility. It rejects, right? Rejects there. It can also bounce off the 0% line and then reject. Or we can ladder, break out, boom, boom.
It's 11:15.
So many things can happen. I just gotta be ready to react. So when it does happen. So let's get closer to 8:30. We're still right now at 8. So let me get closer to 8:30. Let's see what happens. Okay, it breaks out pre-market, which makes me think what to do. Change that to pink. Pink starts with P. Pre-market starts with P. That's why I do pink. Okay. It might fail this. Where would I want to get in? I would want to get in 0% line. It's a good place to bounce. So get in. Try this. So I'll try the 0% line. I'll try this liquidity area. I'll try the breakout of the high pre-market, and I'll try breaking out of yesterday's. So I'll look for bounce areas. Anything below is a bounce, 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 break, break. Anything above is a break, break. Okay, so are we gonna get a break or bounce first? So are we gonna use a pre-market as a bounce? We'll see. So we're about to open real quick. One can. Okay, so pre-market, it failed. It failed the trend break. So that's better. I get more information. So for me, now I'm looking for a bounce below. A bounce below. Boom, we got the bounce. See? We got the bounce. And in one candle, boom, we got the bounce. Can it sustain the top? So as soon as I would have seen that, I think I did get in this one. As soon as I see that, I get in and I try to ride it all the way to 338. You know what? Like it's far. I mean, I didn't even mark my 5% level. 5%. It is within 5%, but a good target for me would be just like halfway, just in case, or the top of these. So 330 would be a good target to hit. So 330 is a good target. And because from where we're at right now, it's like almost $10. I mean, from where I entered, that's $10. That's 3 contracts. So let's see if the 3 contracts get fulfilled. I would have been out of 1 contract already because based on my risk reward, which I always do like $1 beyond the entry area. So yeah, I would have been out of 1 contract already right here, and I would have held the other 2. And then the way I like to mark the next level to get out is I copy this and I paste it there. So I would have gotten out another contract right there and held the last one to see what happens. The last one I'll get out. What's a good place to get out? I mean, maybe I don't want to say because anything could happen. I'll say like half of the first risk reward ratio box. Ooh, almost. What does it want to do? Does it want to reach the target or not? So this is a stop where my wick is at. I mean, technically, I should have been out of the 3rd contract already because check this out. Boom. Should have gone out right there already. So got out 1 contract, got out the 2nd contract, got out the 3rd contract. So without even reaching this, it would have been a good trade. And see, it didn't break through the noise. It actually came into the top of the wick of the noise. Look at that. Boom, beautiful. So I don't know if I marked that on Tuesday, but that's something, something you look at. What did it do around this? I mean, not much. It kind of did resist a little bit right there. You can see right here. Some like resistance right there. Right here. Look at that. That resistance. But because it is 2 consecutive red candles, purple in my case, to me it's like you can retrace that. You can undo consecutive candles, for me, in my opinion. Okay. Sorry, just getting distracted here. Distracted. All right, so that's Tuesday. Would have been a great trade. The idea was correct. The thesis is we're above this green candle. Let's continue higher. How do we continue higher? We bounce off something or we break out of something? That's the question I ask myself. And where are we going? What's a good place to go that would fulfill something of the daily? So let's move on to the next day. All right, we're close to 8:30. I like to start at 8. Yeah, like 8 for, give myself some minutes before the open, because I don't want to have too much information, because I need to start planning minutes before the open. So again, we set it up. I set up my lines to know where I'm at. I need to know where I'm at on the 1 minute. Keep forgetting to use my hotkey. And this area played a factor, so I'm gonna keep it there. So now we got a line and a zone. So now we got this wall and this high right here. That's my next idea. I'm like, are we gonna reach that high? Those wicks. And we've had 4 consecutive yellow candles telling me like, hey, I mean, things are looking not bad. So I'll mark out 5 just in case I see a lot of momentum, see a lot of power. But for me, a more realistic target is this line right here. Mark that and mark the bottom part. Make it a no-touch exit. Already I see some potential here. Pre-market breakout. For me, that's straightforward. Pre-market breakout. Simple as that. So I'm gonna enter in momentum. My stop loss, break out of that. Give myself, the bottom of these pivots. So $1.50 around there. So automatically, I always aim for 3. Oh, this is the wrong box. So 150, and then 3R right there. And because we are using a higher stop range, the risk is higher, so less contracts. So from 437 to 28, it's almost $10, but I'm only gonna use 2 contracts and probably less than 10 delta. So let's find out. We get a break. What's not even 8:30 yet, so we still gotta see. See, now it's going lower. So I gotta fix this even lower. 8:30 is right here. So damn, this might be only a 1 contract play. This might be only a 1 contract. Or this can also be a bounce. And I'll give that $1. And I give that, if I bounce off there, then I enter more contracts. Because from here to there, that's $12. That's, almost 4 contracts right there. So we either bounce or break to go higher. I don't see it going lower. Going lower would be disappointing. And my bias is just higher because, hey, it's been gaining momentum. Anything could happen. Of course, it could reject the zone. Obviously, that's definitely a possibility. But I want to see strength. If not, shorting. I don't see myself shorting this. No. I mean, it could happen, but my bias is going to be to the upside, so let's see what happens. And there it is. Boom. Breakout. What's up? Alright, so do we touch the max? Boom. Haha, let's go. Do we reach the target? I mean, I would have been out already. I probably would not be trading. Okay, I remember this. I remember this clearly. It fails to go higher, so it takes me a while to realize that. You know, for me, I'm like, okay, it's pulling back, touch VWAP. That's kind of an entry. Like, even if that was an entry, would that be a? Yeah, that would definitely be like a one contract play. And yeah, that would have been a bounce play off VWAP. So we got a pivot here. This is forming another pivot. And I think what I did last time, I went like this and then try to get for a higher break, but it didn't happen. So to get into the downside, how did I do it? I didn't even get in, but I had a feeling it was gonna just go lower because it was just failing to go higher. I think the entry would have been below this pivot right here. So okay, now we got like a structurally something higher, low, higher, high, but then we got like a pivot that's kind of lower, and that's concerning. And it's choppy. It's like noisy. It's like okay, this is a lot of time before it breaks out. So now we got like a box going on. You know, we got some kind of box. It's just trapped in there. And to get into the downside, uh, forgot what I did. I think yeah, it's just below this wick right here. So if it closes below this wick, yeah, that's an entry right
It's
there.
11:30.
So from there, enter, and then boom, all the way. I would have just targeted the 0% line, but this one I think went close. It retraced the entire candle. I think it did. I'm not sure. And then structurally, I didn't. So structurally now tries to go higher. But after a certain time, after like 9:30, it's already noise, and I'm not looking at this anymore. I'm just like walking away. I'm already going do my work as an Uber driver. But yeah, that's something difficult to recognize the way down. And so there you have it. That's what happened. I think this was Wednesday. This was Wednesday. You know, you get your up move, the reversal. You know, it was just this noisy area. To me, was like, it should have broken out a long time ago, and it didn't, and that's why below this pivot, it's like an entry. It's like, okay, let's try to the downside. And to the downside, you know, same thing. Give myself $1 stop range. Not structural, because we're still in a momentum time. Like before 9:30, there's a lot of momentum. There's for me not a lot of retest. So this would have been a two contract play. Cause look, small, and then boom, to capture this contract. It could have captured more, but the target is 0. Cause right here it just slows down. yeah, it's like, $4 more, but it's longer wait and uncertain because this ends up happening. We want the fast breaks, the fast moves. So we got this fast move, and then choppiness, concern, and then okay, confirmation to the way down. Capture that too. All right, up to the next candle. Next day. Now we're going to Thursday. Six a.m. 7. Let me change that to 5. Ooh, almost passed it. 7:55. Okay. Change to 1 minute. All right, back to the same repetitive process. Do I remember what happened Thursday? Not really. Thursday. What happened Thursday? So right Thursday we got a really thin. I think I remember what happened. A very thin body of this candle. Oh. Oh, my wrist hurts. It's kind of pointless to even draw the bodies, but no, it's necessary. But now we have this weird candle. It's still yellow, so technically it's kind of still good, man. Now we're in that area. It kind of went back to this other interesting area. It's floating within that liquidity. Pre-market broke out of it. So, an entry for me, again, would be either pre-market breakout of the high or a bounce off this liquidity area. So, either here to that area or here to that area. That. So I would go for a no touch for no, this is liquidity, so I do want to see a touch. It could definitely retrace down because it did that yesterday. Look, it went boom. So it could definitely sink through it. Possible bearish moves. Yeah, now we're in a kind of confusing spot. Oh, I remember what happened. So we draw pre-market lines. I think I drew this, and when that happened, it bounced off this line. Instead of touching this, it just went off this pre-market bounce and then went up. But I don't know if it touched the high. How much is that? That's roughly $6, just decent. Obviously want to get out here. I would prefer to get in here, but what's gonna happen is gonna go off here. That's just from the top of my head. Pre-market trend bounce, and then it breaks. So this is still bullish. What ended up happening. So let's go to, I'll mark the 8:30 line right there. So you can see what happened. Okay. And then yeah, the exit would be somewhere around here. I didn't even talk about yesterday's. It was just stopped randomly anywhere. It was not something. Maybe I could have looked into what happened the other day. The other days here, but I didn't. You want to look at it? Let's see. Let's see. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba-ba-da-ba. So, okay, I'm really zoomed in. So this area right here. This area. So this candle rejected. I don't know, somewhere around here. This is not really significant. I don't know. I don't see any significance there. Okay, we're about to open. Go for the bounce here. Enter at the bounce, and then try to capture this. The bounce is I'm gonna give it automatic $1 stop range. Right there. If it fails, I'm gonna then go for the liquidity area. Is this enough for 2 contracts? Let's see. Yeah. So I'm gonna go for this target right here and then see what happens. So see, it retested that. It was a touch and go. So even though I tried doing a no touch, it was so fast that it ended up, poking through it and then boom, higher. So out of 1 contract already. And look at this big old wick down. That's scary. Does it continue higher? From there, what ends up happening? Let's see. So 1 contract is fulfilled. Can the 2nd contract be fulfilled? Yes. So that's the 2nd contract fulfilled. And then it touched yesterday's high, which technically, you know what? That could be an entry to go down all the way to 0. So I would have entered there too. Give it a $1 stop range. This should be automatic. This is also a two contract play. So yeah, look at that. Fulfilled. So upside, downside. So definitely would have caught 2 moves, and then from here, it's 9. After 9, it's kind of slow, but I think it ends up going way lower. I think it ends up going lower. Let's see. Yeah, look at that. Wow. Much lower, man. Wow. Look at that. Wow. Yeah, that was a crazy day. I mean, that part right here is just noisy. But imagine you catch that. So, in my scenario, yeah, just catch this and then down. But how about this big old bazooka? Gosh. Wow. And look, what's interesting is it went back down to this liquidity area. Right on it. Wow. And then it just bounces off of it. Which is so interesting how it just respects some things. So what would have been a reason to hold on to this? Well, the reason was like, okay, it failed. It failed massively. Failed to hold, break higher. The idea would have been like, okay, just retrace yesterday's, because they'd done that. This easily did that yesterday. It didn't really respect this area, so boom, break it again. Let's see, and it did. Boom, I broke it. I retested this pre-market trend, which is not. I don't think it's valid anymore. But now it's kind of structural. Now it's a huge pivot. Now it's this huge pivot high, huge pivot low, huge pivot lower high, and that's like, okay, boom, we're in this mother fudger, and we're not respecting this line. What's the next move? Let's retrace yesterday's. Let's retrace yesterday's move all the way down. Let's do that again. Boom, it does it. Does it here. And what's a target? What's a valid target? Well, I mean, definitely the low is the target, but this freaking day was like, you know what? Let's touch that liquidity zone all the way in the bottom. Let's take out all that, and then boom, find support at this liquidity area. And then we find ourselves Friday, which, this was an interesting day. Wow. Now let's go to Friday. No, 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 no. Six. Yep. Yeah, I don't want to go too far. Okay. And I think, well, Friday happened. Friday was yesterday, so of course I remember what happened. It was a terrible day. I mean, I made a couple bucks, but it was lousy day. Yesterday was lousy. Fridays sometimes are really good, sometimes are like poop. And I think because it's Valentine's Day, a lot of people are not really trading, they're just getting ready for planning something for their loved ones. So this would be, we're still recently high, but overall trending down on the daily. It's not important. Okay. So from here, you see these highs, you see these lows. You can definitely retrace these two candles. Now that if it breaks this level, we're definitely going to like this area right here. That's for me support. That's where, this was just a quick wick through. That's more valid for me. That's what I was thinking at the time. And that target high is really far.
It's 11:45.
Break out of the that's too far. I think people were just discouraged. But yeah, breaking below this, which pre-market kind of did. It did do that. But it held its own eventually. So this was a difficult spot. Not easy. Let's mark that. And this. So we're not left with much. If we look at yesterday, maybe break out of here. Maybe retrace some of it. But then we got this kind of resistance here. So yeah, that's kind of resistance. So we'll mark this level out as orange. Yeah, so some level of concern right there. And because I'm near the bottom of this candle, so I'm kind of expecting it to go lower. Yesterday's my closest reference. I'm gonna use it, whichever way I can. And I'm gonna look at this, what does that mean? Alright. So let's get closer to 8:30 to get more information. It breaks that. Now it's still by the 0% line. Man, all this has made me tired, believe it or not, because you're training your brain to reconstruct what happened in the past and how you were thinking and how you went about it. Definitely a brain exercise here. Okay, what seems interesting? Yeah, yesterday I was just kind of lost with this. I was like, what do I do with this? What can I possibly do? Um, it looks kind of structural. Kind of lost right here. Uh, go higher. I don't want to go higher. What I do want to kind of see is maybe enter here to go lower and then lower, and maybe just capture this as a target at most, because I already had a big day yesterday. Usually the next day is kind of slow. It's kind of like, oh, people are digesting what just happened, unless there's some kind of big catalyst. And if there was like a big gap happening on this more and that, that particular yesterday's morning, it would have meant something. But it's just confusing, and what ends up happening is just confusing as well. So boom, we get that confusing thing. And so I think I tried getting in there at that area. So I poked through. Let me get rid of this 30-minute 8:30 line. So it poked through, and I'm like, maybe it's support, and I think it rejected this top part too, and I'm like, maybe it's resistance. Yeah, I lost some money somewhere. I think it was like, for me, I was like, okay, this might be support, and then that I think the 0% line fails too. Yeah, see, it fails, and once it fails like that, I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna wait for some structure. Let me wait for some structure here. And then look at that. I'm like, okay, maybe it went below. And then I was pretty convinced. So lower. And I don't know. I was just very wary. And I think I got out early somewhere here. So it just creates a noisy channel. And eventually it kind of goes higher. So that's confusing. Eventually goes higher. I think that's here. Holds above 0% line, goes higher. Gets the orange line. And then, okay. What is that up to? Let me just, yeah. So that was, yeah, just a noise day. A noisy day right there. I mean, you could probably say, oh, equal high, equal lows. But I mean, look at this pivot and then this pivot. Is that a significant move from here to here? 12 to 24. Yeah, it's $12, right? But what's the entry here? It's just, I mean, I could probably do this huge block of cheese and enter here, because yeah, that's maybe from here, but that's only $6, and it took a long time, 8:36 all the way to 12:50. It's a long wait. So you can't get them all, man. You just, Yeah, this day I walked away after seeing this. I'm like, you gotta know when to walk away. Basically, that's the message. So I think that's it for my recap. Check out the other recaps I got live. It's only one more that I actually did like this. So hope you enjoy. Have a great day. Happy Valentine's Day.